Hey, Brandon, checking out this real quick. Per your question, nipples at the floor and a proud chest. You are not the first person to ask about that. That is absolutely a valid concern. Um, think about what you do when you pull your chest up. If you're not driving right now, and if you are, don't do this. But if you're not driving right now, I'd recommend that you stand up and you hinge at the hips and see if you can pull your chest up, right? So hinge all the way over at the hips, your knees are relatively straight, and you're bent over. And can you pull your chest up? And the answer is yes, because that's thoracic extension, right? Pulling your chest up is thoracic extension. And then bending over is hip flexion. They're two very different movements. We tend to think that, oh, it's the same thing. Everyone does it first, but part of this whole process is figuring out you can do one without the other or both of them at the same time. Um, so that's the thing about that. It's very important to note that you can keep your chest really tall and proud as if you were, trying to show off to a lady in high school. You're 18 and all these hormones are going through your body, and the hottest girl walks by in the hallway. You know what you do, right? You pull your chest up, you show off your goods. It's the same kind of extension. And then the hip flexion, this bending over, you can do that at the same time as you keep your back rigid and extended. I do like this grip a lot, actually. You can see those posterior deltoids poking up out right under the bar. That's really nice. And that is all really good. You're doing a much better job of getting bent over here, a much better job of keeping your chest up here. The next thing I think we need to worry about or look after is these knees. I know we've touched on that before. Are you watching basketball? What a guy. That's amazing. Um, so these knees right here. Boop, 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 boop. Let's look at a rep. So I want you to watch what happens. Ideally, we'd like to see the knees travel forward and the hips travel back kind of simultaneously, okay? Play by play here. Now, where are the knees? Knees have barely moved forward. The hips are way back, right? And what you should see about halfway down the movement is you should see a weight shift if that continues onto the heels. What do we know? Replay. I'm not really great at the play by play here. You do see the toes come up there, right? So we could play that back one more time. Toes come up a little bit, okay? And that means that the weight is shifted back. Your center of mass is shifted back. It goes onto the toes at the bottom because it always does. These systems have a way of trying to correct themselves. And then what's it going to do? Because it's not very good. The barbell lifter system is not great at passively correcting its center of mass over its balance point, and so there's sort of an overcompensation effect where you go on your toes and then you come back onto your heels during the ascent. Okay. Um, what we need there then is we need, as we descend, to get the knees out really fast. And I don't mean just forward, I mean to the side and forward really fast in this. Okay, think fast knees, think about getting them out real early, whatever works, but that is also going to help you get a much better bounce at the bottom. Warning, this will make you feel more vertical, and your back angle will be a little more vertical than you are in these. It's perfectly fine. The key here is that we stay over the middle foot and that the bar path is straight up and down, right? The bar moves in a straight vertical line. Those are the two things that simply cannot be done without. Okay, and I do like that first bounce. Cool. Golly, it's dark. Cool. Neat. So the only thing I'd really like to see here is we do have, as we go through the set, a little habit of letting the elbows drop behind the bar, it looks like. This isn't the best angle for it, but it looks like that's what's happening. Um, and that's in the bounce, okay? So you definitely want the elbows to go, or the bar to go into free fall during the bounce. You're doing a great job of that. The hard part is you've got to think about keeping your elbows high while that's happening. And yes, this will ensure that you don't go as low as you possibly could. It'll take a little bit of maybe a half an inch or less off of the distance of your vertical movement of the bar, but it also needs to be the case because if the elbows drop behind the bar, what happens? You're pushing the bar out in front of you now off the bounce, and that's going to screw up a whole lot of stuff at heavy weights. It will mean a missed rep. So think about high elbows while you're performing that hip movement, and I promise you that the bar will groove just a lot easier. Now, when you say rip a hernia, what does that mean? Anyway. Gotta say, these look frickin' heavy and really good. That was a little on the heels. Okay. Okay. That's better. Okay, cool. Cool. Totally get that those last ones felt really, really grindy. Deadlifts will always be that way. The last reps, I mean, you feel like you're out of reps by the third rep of a 5 rep set in the deadlift at heavy weights. It always happens. It happens with everyone. It's amazing just how much you can grind out a heavy deadlift set. You probably always have 2 more reps than you think you could possibly do. Um, However, the only thing I'd like to see differently here is a couple of these reps, not all of them, but a couple of them, you are just a little on your heels, okay? So in this setup, the toes are a little off the ground. All you need to do, I believe, is think about driving through your toes, okay? Keep your hips a little higher and drive through your toes. I think that's going to fix all that. These are beautiful. Keep them grinding. Love that. If you have any questions about anything we went over, then please do let me know. Otherwise, you will hear from me soon.